Going on, everyone? John Matrix here. So today we've got some more SCP goodness for you. I'm doing a follow-up video to SCP-2845 The Deer video that I did before. We're gonna get a little more in detail about it. This is Volgun's version of that, or I guess is gonna go through the actual article a little more in detailed and talk about you know, just more information about the deer, and I guess maybe the ritual behind it and how they, you know, created and discovered the ritual, etc., etc. So we're gonna get to that. As always, links down below in the info section to the original video and Volgun's channel. And as always, we're doing this live here, so if you want to join in these discussions, you can click the join button down below and see if any of the YouTube membership tiers have any interest to you. And yeah, check all that stuff out. But for now, we're just gonna get right on in the video here. So boop, volume's good, let's go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-2845. Threat level, Black. Object class, Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Use of outsourced containment resources and consultants has been authorized for the containment of SCP-2845. Consultants are to be considered Level 2 personnel and are at no time permitted to leave Site-100. If at any time an outside consultant must be removed from containment of SCP-2845, Class A amnestics are to be applied before release. A minimum of 30 trained individuals and an unhindered supply of untrained subjects is required for proper containment of SCP-2845.
An unhindered supply. Okay. I mean, it is a crazy threat level. So, I mean, from what I know of this from the previous video that we watched, this creature came to our planet on some kind of comet or meteor that broke off, and it landed here. And I think it landed in the ocean and then got to the west coast, like the Pacific Northwest of the US coast, and was immediately hostile. Now, whether it was actually hostile or we interpret its actions as being hostile because it's just hostile to humans, whatever, you know, I guess that could be left up to debate. But it is some kind of strange godlike entity that's impervious to any of our weapons and attacks. They tried to do something with it that failed, and it's been moved on since, but they discovered some kind of ritual that's connected with Saturn, you know, from Greek Roman mythology, etc. And for whatever reason, this strange ritual that they perform has somehow contained it and kept it from attacking, being hostile, moving, etc., etc. And for the most part, that's kind of the summary of what I really remember. So I'm interested to get into more detail about what exactly, like, how they exactly, if we do find out how exactly they really like came up with the ritual that they're doing, what else they've, you know, maybe tried and failed. And I guess if they've like figured out anything more about what the deer is, and I guess what it wants, if they know it all. So anyway, let's continue.
An unhindered supply of untrained subjects is required for proper containment of SCP-2845. 48 trained personnel are currently assigned to active containment of SCP-2845. Split into 8 teams of 6, with a further 24 individuals available as replacements. An allowance of 5 D-Class per week has been authorized for the containment of SCP-2845. Site-100 has been constructed to the following specifications. Site-100 consists of 9 concentric circular bands, designated Ring A through Ring I, with a gap located between Ring C and Ring D, designated as Gap 1. 6 circular chambers are located at 0, 60, 120, 180, 240, and 300 degrees within each ring, and
yeah, I wonder what the 6-pointed star stuff, what significance that really has. because they had mentioned that in the Exploring series video that I'd watched too. So there was something to do with 6-pointed stars and certain variation. There's something to do with, you know, numerology that's also a part of this.
180, 240, and 300 degrees within each ring and gap. The chambers located at 0 degrees are aligned with geographic north. 2 additional circular chambers are located outside of Ring I, located at 120 and 240 degrees. The floor of each circular chamber contains an unobstructed lead hexagram. The central chamber containing SCP-2845 and 216 instances of SCP-2845-1 is to contain an atmosphere of 96.3% hydrogen, 3.25% helium, and 0.45% ammonia, maintained at -110 degrees Celsius and a pressure of 2.3 bar. The following procedures are all to be carried out in a repeating cycle of 63 hours, 54 minutes. Each procedure is to last 39 minutes, with 10 hours between each procedure. Each procedure must be carried out by 6 individuals. The location of each procedure is
I wonder, like, numerology wise, like, what all does this mean? Repeating cycle of 63 hours and 54 minutes, like, exactly. And each procedure, does it have to specifically last for 39 minutes? You know, what happens if they go a minute longer or shorter? And then there has to be 10 hours between each procedure. And there has to be 6 individuals at each one. So I don't know. It's very interesting.
Procedure must be carried out by 6 individuals. The location of each procedure is denoted in parentheses. At the beginning of each new cycle, containment procedures will be carried out in the next ring closest to the containment chamber. Ceremonial recitations for all procedures and descriptions of all variant costumes may be found in Document 2845-C EXP. Procedure 410, Constantin, 60 degrees. Containment specialists are presented with masks, joy, sadness, anger, apathy, fear, and foolishness, and act out Ceremony Constantin A. Ceremony Constantin A is a farcical comedy of errors and exchange of insults between the 6 individuals, culminating in foolishness outwitting the group in a game of riddles and declaring himself king. The conclusion of Ceremony Constantin A is followed by a game of dice. The winner of the game is irrelevant to the procedure.
I find that interesting too, that the game of dice is played and that it doesn't matter who wins. But foolishness coming out and being on top of the king, I don't know. Like, what significance or meaning does that have, if any? You know what I mean? I don't know. This the whole procedure and ritual that they do here is very strange. And then, like, it was established for the Scarlet King that, like, a ritual needed to be done to kind of appease it so that it wouldn't appear in our world or our universe. But it didn't really necessarily matter what the ritual was, as long as, like, something was done and I guess intent was given. And I understand that, like, this is a completely different entity, but do those same rules apply? You know what I mean? Like, is it just the intent behind the ritual that is keeping this thing contained? And if so, like, why does the ritual have to be performed the way it is, and the certain numerical values have to be done with all these 6-pointed stars and 6 individuals, and the play in specific times, and then of course the castration stuff that happens, and the babies being consumed, and all the weird stuff that it gets into. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's the thing about this that I find so, like, strange and interesting, is just the actual things that happen in the ritual. Like, why is it that these specific things are what is containing it? Like, Is it just shock value, or is it like, is it so entranced by like what's happening that it's like the deer's just like, y'all are fucked up, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just like can't comprehend what we're doing, so it's like so confused that it just doesn't know what to do. It's like literally a deer in the headlights kind of a situation. Which, like, did they ever try that? Did they ever just try shining bright lights at it so it would just not move? You know what I mean? Like, duh, the deer. Hello. But anyway, I don't know. I just wonder if it's the intent behind the ritual with this creature that matters as well, and not the ritual itself. But if that's the case, then you would think they would find some kind of ritual that doesn't require, you know, human mutilation and cannibalism. So I don't know. Anyway, let's continue.
Followed by a game of dice. The winner of the game is irrelevant to the procedure. Procedure 420, Perinaldo.
420, yellow blaze it.
Performance of a musical piece for flute, oboe, clarinet, French horn, timpani, and bass drum. The piece is accompanied by specific somatic and vocal components carried out by the players throughout the performance, designated Ceremony Perinaldo A. The performance must be live. Recordings of the piece have no effect. Procedure 430.
Interesting that it also has to be live and that there are recordings that matter. And it's also interesting that they've tried doing a recording, and so that would imply that they know that doing a recording doesn't work, and that it has to be live. So again, I feel like it's again, I just feel like it has to do more with the intent. Like the fact that a recording isn't good enough, you know, does that imply that, like, what am I trying to look for? Not necessarily angered, but just that, like, I guess, like, it has the idea that, like, you're not putting in enough effort, I guess. I guess that's what I'm going for. Like, oh, you're just playing a recording. You're not sitting here. You don't think I'm good enough for you to actually play this performance live. You know what I mean? Like, is that part of, you know, what's containing it? That it's like, oh, you're actually putting in the effort to entertain me and perform this live, as opposed to just a recording. Or, you know, maybe it can't perceive stuff through speakers, you know, because it's entirely, I don't know. Anyway.
Recordings of the piece have no effect. Procedure 430, Epimetheus. 180 degrees. Gifts are exchanged among containment specialists. Content of gifts is irrelevant to the procedure, but each gift must not exceed $4.28 in worth. Each gift is accompanied by recitation of ceremony Epimetheus A in its entirety, and the scattering of grain around the containment chamber.
And that, I know, had to do with a reference to, like, the Saturnalia, big Roman festival that would happen where they would kind of exchange gifts and, you know, do the stuff with the grain. So I don't know. I find it fascinating that, I don't know. I just find it fascinating what has to be done here for this ritual, and that seemingly they've tried other things and they didn't work. You know what I mean? That's the thing that I think that like I have that's like hard for my mind to get around, is like, why is it these specific things done in these specific way that contains it? And like, if it's off by like one thing or not, it seemingly doesn't work. You know? So like, does that lend credence to the fact that this creature actually is Saturn? You know what I mean? And is like come down to Earth to punish humanity for not taking part in its, you know, ritual for however, you know, many thousands of years it's been since Roman times when humanity did this regularly, kind of thing. You know, I don't know.
Procedure 440, Cassiel. 240 degrees. Ceremony Cassiel A is recited as containment specialists bind their feet with wool and consume 0.5 liters of olive oil. Then they will break apart a rock weighing at least 200 kilograms with hammers. Ceremony Cassiel B is recited throughout. Procedure 450, Cairo. 300 degrees. A D-class subject is prepared by painting a symbol, ring surrounding a dot with an arrow pointing upwards at the 90-degree point, on the stomach with a platinum-based solution, and presented with a blue cloak, crown, and scepter. D-class subject is then restrained in a chair, and ceremony Cairo A is recited. After recitation of the ceremony Cairo A, the D-class subject is to be castrated by use of a hand sickle by a containment specialist. The testes are then to be disposed of in a bowl of salt water as ceremony Cairo B is recited. Procedure 460, Omphalos, 0 degrees. Ceremony Omphalos A is to be recited before roasting of a child no more than 3 months of age. Ceremony Omphalos B is to be recited before consumption. After consumption of the child, ceremony Omphalos C is to be recited over the gastroliths, which are then swallowed. Vomiting is then induced, and ceremony Omphalos D is recited, signaling the beginning of a new cycle.
The thing to me also is it's like, what all else did they try beforehand to that didn't work? You know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing that I wonder is what all other rituals, tests, things that they try to do that didn't work. And like, did they try consuming a child that was, 4 months old? Like, why is it no more than three months? You know what I mean? Like, what do the exact specifics mean and why? I guess is where I'm getting at with a lot of the stuff with this ritual. I just want to know, like, why are these exact specific things in these exact specific ways? What is it about doing it in, I don't know. It's just strange to me.
In the case of a containment breach, Site 100's nuclear device is to be detonated, followed by lockdown of all Foundation facilities and activation of Protocol 2845 XK1, strike down the moon. And this is a message from Containment Consultant to Site Director Dell on January 31st, 2012. Towering Kadath, my home. I have been approached several times already in regards to the containment procedures and their complexity. I have been asked if all of the containment procedures are truly necessary, if they could not be cut down or edited for simplicity, and at least one claimed that they were patently ridiculous. This is my response, and I expect that it will be seen by all of the Foundation staff working on this project. I will not repeat myself, and I find it sickening that after all the struggle to contain this creature, pencil-pushing bureaucrats are still seeking to cut corners where they cannot afford to be cut. The answer is no. The ritual will remain as it is, and will not be changed in any way. It cannot be cut down further, nor can it be added to. It has been set in place, and now that it has begun, any deviation at all could very easily be catastrophic. Rituals do not work because of some underlying laws, such as those that science operates on. Rituals work because they are rituals. They work because an arbitrary set of criteria has been met with exacting care. Belief that meeting these arbitrary criteria achieves a certain end assigns power to the ritual.
See, but that's kind of the point that I'm getting at. Like, again, it seems to lead more credence to, it doesn't matter the ritual itself. What matters is the intent of the ritual and the power put behind the ritual, which was, again, already kind of established with the Scarlet, King, and that rituals were performed to prevent him from getting into our world. And like, it's implied that something horrific happens, but what actually happens isn't known. But it could just be nothing. It could just be like literally the act of reading this pregnant mother a book, a child's book, and that is appeasing it. You know what I mean? So like that again is what is part of what I don't understand about this ritual. Like, you could do anything and put power and intent behind it. Why is it the things that are done here specifically needed? Is it simply just that this doctor, like, for whatever reason had like been researching the rituals and things of Saturn, and for whatever reason just like, let's try this, and it just happened to work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Think of it this way: they did mundane rituals. They probably wouldn't mean as much. The abstract, strange, taboo nature of the ritual are exactly what makes the ritual work. I mean, I get that, and I mean, there's also, you know, it's completely different universe, but that's also kind of the same precedence in, you know, 40K. Like, you know, if you really want to get the attention of one of the greater demons or even one of the actual chaos gods, you have to do something like crazy with crazy intent behind it to actually get their attention so that you can gain their power. So like, you know, I do understand that, but I just feel like, I don't know. Again, this is just probably just me and thinking that there could be other ways of going about it, but I just feel like there's other ways and other ways of putting greater intention in that are more sustainable, I guess. You know what I mean? Because like, how many people are you going to be able to sit there and keep bringing in that are willing to be castrated or not willing? You know what I mean? And how many, you know, like, babies are you're going to be able to find that are no more than 3 months old that you can just sit there and keep sacrificing in this ritual just to contain this? Like, eventually you're going to run out. So it's like, someone had mentioned in the comments that it could be cloning, and I could see that. I could see that possibility if they have the technology and advancement to, like, I guess, clone adults and or clone babies, you know, whatever. That could be one way of sustaining it, but it just seems like this ritual is not sustainable to me. Eventually, in the long run, they're gonna run out of people to do this with. So like, that, I guess that's the other part of what my thought process is behind this, is like, there's got to be another way of doing a ritual that has power and intention behind it that doesn't require the mutilation and sacrifice of humans, and it can be done in a sustainable way. But maybe I'm wrong. Foundation doesn't really want to keep doing it, but this expert has them over a barrel. They can't risk. I mean, I get that. I get that it's a situation where, like, they've done something that's worked and they've contained this creature, so like, they have to keep doing it because they can't risk it getting out. Because if it breaks containment, there's no no guarantee that starting a ritual of this kind again will stop it. So they're kind of pigeonholed into this. You know what I mean? I mean, I do get it. Anyway, let's continue.
Criteria achieves a certain end, assigns power to the ritual. The actions that were once meaningless now have been assigned meaning through their repetition and application. This is how one seals away a god, and this is a god. I know that the Foundation does not approve of using this term, but it is still the case. The stag is a god, and it is not a petty local god. It is not one of the mild gods of Earth, or some weaker spirit that is bound by the strength of man's belief. We have, for the time being, fooled it into thinking that we have overpowered it. It does not understand that we do so falsely. It is a god. For gods, words have power. Ritual and belief hold greater power over a god than all the laws of science. However, it must be kept in mind that the stag could escape, right now if it so chose. With a thought, this entire facility could turn into a puff of hydrogen. If at any point the stag thought to escape, it would, and we would be powerless to stop it. However, it will not think to escape, or even to change its strategy. The idea will not even pass through its mind. It cannot comprehend the concept. It does not think in the way we think. Truth be told, I would not say it thinks at all. This is an old god. It does not dabble in decisions. Decisions are for creatures.
I mean, that is true. That's another good point. Like, this is a god, so it's like its concept and perception of reality are probably vastly different and incomprehensible to us. You know what I'm saying? So, like the fact that it's able to break down things on a you know, atomic level and turn it into hydrogen or whatever else, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, it definitely perceives and understands reality differently than we are. And it's like the old adage of, you know, you step on an anthill, you don't apologize to the ants, kind of a thing. So, like, who knows how it even views us, if it even sees us as anything at all. So,
who may act erratically, variably, or out of line. A god of this strength simply is. It is an absolute. It acts as a force. In building this ritual, we have shifted its being the slightest bit, and now it is locked into a pattern of behavior. It struggles against us, we struggle against it, and we are locked together in an eternal dance so long as the ritual remains intact. If one thing goes awry, the entirety is lost, and the deadlock is broken. Unstoppable force without an immovable object. The rituals might seem to be nonsense, but they are what I divined to be the best course of action. There are powerful symbols there, and whether or not you think they are appropriate to the situation is irrelevant.
True.
I have listened to the converted, and I have listened to the echoes of the stag in their songs. They are not suffering, but they are no longer human. They are changed, utterly. The ritual remains as it is. Description: SCP-2845 is a quadruped entity, measuring 2.9 meters in height at the shoulder and weighing 815 kilograms. A sinuous neck, generally held in an upright position, extends a further 0.5 meters, terminating in a head with humanoid facial features. SCP-2845 possesses antlers, measuring 4.8 meters across. Antlers are white, with black marbling and coloration, and have not been observed to shed. SCP-2845 is covered in hair with an average length of 10 centimeters, with the exception of the face, which is hairless.
Interesting also that they've been able to, like, study, I guess, and get these specific measurements on it. But I guess if you got to contain, you probably have enough time to observe it. Quote from the occult expert is my favorite part of the article. He's not fucking around. Seems not.
SCP-2845's coloration is primarily a pastel green, with a stripe of cream on the underside of the neck and belly. A ring of ice particles is suspended 15 centimeters behind SCP-2845's skull, measuring 1.7 meters in diameter, with a ring thickness of 35 centimeters. This ring is interrupted at regular intervals by 7 spheres consisting of metallic hydrogen and metallic helium, each measuring 15 centimeters in diameter. The ring and spheres rotate clockwise at a speed of 1.6 RPM. The force maintaining the movement of the ring, the physical state of the spheres, and the means by which SCP-2845 is capable of supporting its head under the weight of its antlers are unknown. SCP-2845 is capable of instantaneous transmutation and reconstruction of matter. No matter is created or destroyed during this process. This property is manifested at will with an observed.
It's interesting that it says that no matter is created or destroyed in this process. So it's still kind of like seemingly it's a god and can do all these crazy things, but it's still bound by like some of the basic laws of the universe. You know, matter can't be destroyed, or, you know, matter and energy can't be destroyed. It can just be converted into each other. You know what I mean? That is, I do find that still kind of interesting.
Created or destroyed during this process. This property is manifested at will, with an observed range extending to targets within eyesight. Maximum range of this ability is unknown. Transmuted matter will remain stable despite the lack of...
That is true. Like, that would kind of suck if you're just some innocent person on the other side of the planet and somehow it perceives you and just all of a sudden you're just transmuted into whatever it wants to. You know, with just for whatever reason without warning, it just transmutes you.
Ability is unknown. Transmuted matter will remain stable despite the lack of other factors. For example, metallic hydrogen and helium are common results, which will remain in either solid or liquid form despite the surrounding temperature. Altered atmosphere will not mix with unaltered regions, maintaining chemical consistency. The most common transmutation results are the solid or liquid forms of hydrogen and helium, the conversion of atmosphere into a hydrogen-helium-ammonia mix, and the transmutation of plant life into metalloid-based organisms.
Interesting.
SCP-2845 will typically surround itself with a transmuted area with a radius of approximately 5 meters at all times. SCP-2845 has proven itself completely resistant to physical damage. The most common forms of offensive transmutation used by SCP-2845 are a column measuring 5 to 7 meters in diameter and 60 to 80 meters in height, or a horizontal cone measuring between 100 and 150 meters in length and 10 to 30 meters in width at the furthest end. However, SCP-2845 has been observed to attack single targets at distances of up to 10 kilometers. Early observation of SCP-2845 during recovery indicated that it will generally ignore non-combatants, focusing on retaliation against attackers.
See, I find that interesting. And I just wonder what it's, I mean, it's a god, so its motivations are probably, incomprehensible to us. Like, we don't really understand it or comprehend what it is. So, but that is kind of, I guess the question is really, what does it want? What's its motivation for being here? You know what I mean? I kind of had a theory in the previous, exploring series video that, I wondered if this is some kind of creature that, belonged to some kind of species that, maybe this was exiled somehow. Like this is some kind of alien species from another planet or something like that. Because it came to us on a meteor, so I wonder if this other species had contained it, imprisoned it in this meteor, and then just exiled it out to space to wander around, and somehow we just got unlucky in that the meteor chunk that this was a part of, contained in, imprisoned in, whatever you want to say, broke off and fell to our planet, and now we're having to deal with it. But you just the idea that if stuff isn't hostile to it, it leaves them alone. You know what I mean? So it's the other question though is what, granted, we're shooting, artillery and bombs and things like that at it, but it's impervious to it. So what would really have to be done for it to be perceived as a hostile action toward it? You know what I mean? Again, could it just be the intent of we're trying to destroy it? So, that intent is potentially giving power to the idea that it could be destroyed, and it doesn't like that. So it's preventing that by transmuting or attacking these things. And that if you leave it alone, it leaves you alone. I don't know. This is very interesting.
However, SCP-2845 was not seen to make any attempts to spare non-combatants within the area of effect of its transmutations, and later recovery accounts indicate preemptive attacks against both military and civilian targets. SCP-2845...
Okay, so it did preemptively attack military and civilian targets at one point in time, for seemingly no reason. Maybe it was just experimenting, testing to make sure that its abilities would work on us, and to assess our potential threat to it. And then once it perceived that we weren't really a threat to it, it kind of ignores us as long as we're not attacking it. I don't know.
Against both military and civilian targets. SCP-2845-1 designates human beings that have been modified by SCP-2845. Instances of SCP-2845-1 are hexagonal columns measuring 2.4 meters in height.
And this is the interesting thing too, what is it turning these people into and why? You know what I mean? What, again, I just want to know. I just want to know, what is it turning these people into? Why? What use does it have? You know what I mean? I don't know. I just find it interesting.
With a rubbery yellow-green skin. SCP-2845-1 instances do not have any outward sense organs, and autopsy has shown that internal organs are likewise absent, save the brain, which now takes up the entirety of the column and contains the reconstituted mass of the other organs and some additional outside materials.
So, like, is it like converting people into some kind of organic, like, supercomputer and just using our brains to, like, process stuff? You know what I mean? Like, if that's the case, then again, like, why? What is the overall goal for that? I don't know. I just find it interesting, and I just want to know. I'm definitely the type of person where curiosity killed the cat. I just want to know.
It is unknown how SCP-2845-1 instances derive nutrients, or if any nutrition is required. Neuroimaging of SCP-2845-1 specimens has revealed that the brain is in a constant state of high activity. Analysis of multiple specimens indicates patterns of call and response, so some form of remote communication between SCP-2845-1 specimens is presumed. Modal variants of SCP-2845-1 have been reported, but have evaded capture and study.
Interesting.
Addendum 1. An abridged timeline of SCP-2845 from initial discovery to containment is as follows. November 27, 2011. Initial sighting of Comet C 2011 W3. December 1, 2011. Comet C 2011 W3 confirmed by Mount John University Observatory. December 2, 2011. Comet C 2011 W3 confirmed and named by the Minor Planet Center. December 16, 2011. Comet C 2011 W3 reaches perihelion. Solar Dynamics Observatory records images of a fragment breaking off from the main body of the comet, maintaining a speed of 0.0018 c.
So it also seems like its intention was to, like, break off of this comet and come to this planet. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed, I guess, maybe see our planet, found life here and came down here. And then again, so, like, what does that mean? Is this actually a terraformer of some sort for another species? You know what I mean? Like, was it sent here by another species? Like, that's what they do. They create these deers, these deer entities. They send them out in these meteors, and they just go about terraforming, you know, the universe or planets or whatever, because it's converting stuff into hydrogen, which is, you know, a substance that has a lot of different uses for energy, fuel, etc., etc. And it's converting, you know, organic people into some kind of, I don't know, organic supercomputers of some sort to process stuff. I don't know, but could that also be, you know, a potential theory that this thing is sent here to terraform, and once it's done, it'll, you know, head back out again, but we just seemingly have, you know, locked it in this ritual.
December 17th, 2011. Fragment trajectory confirmed to end in a collision with Earth, with estimated impact of December 21st. Thoth Station deterrence procedure fails at changing fragment's course. Public announcement made by the United Nations. Evacuations begin. December 21st, 2011. Fragment impacts in the Pacific Ocean, 124 kilometers off the Western American coast. December 24th, 2011. SCP-2845 believed to reach shore on this day. December 25th, 2011. First observation of SCP-2845 through civilian video footage. Drone contact made. SCP-2845 confirmed as hostile. Foundation assets within United States military begin direction of recovery and containment procedures, with assistance of Global Occult Coalition representatives. Foundation containment sites in the region enter lockdown. December 26th to December 29th, 2011. Artillery bombardment of SCP-2845 commences, along with initial battery of tests. Contact with outside containment consultants made at this time upon observation of SCP-2845's properties. December 30th, 2011. SCP-2845 is unimpeded for 16 hours. December 31st.
See, that's what I wonder. What happened during these 16 hours? all bombardment and attacks seem to have stopped. So it seems like, I guess, people may have been sent in to maybe communicate with it or something like that. And it's just left, maybe they just left it alone to observe it. I don't know. But I wonder what that is about. And then next day, bombardment recommences.
2011. Bombardment recommences. January 1st to January 14th, 2012. SCP-2845 is led across the Sierra Nevada mountains while remaining under heavy bombardment.
See, and then, like, they're saying that they led it. Like, how? Why? You know what I mean? Like, what could we have that would interest this creature to follow us? If it's invulnerable to any of our attacks and it doesn't care, like, how would we even be able to lead it to a specific place so that we could contain it? You know what I mean? I think that's when the Foundation tried to figure out containment and failed, and that's why they had to call a outside cult expert. It's possible. It's possible, yeah, they sent people in, and they might have been the first to been converted into whatever these, you know, brain hexagon things are. And then, yeah, the bombardment commenced.
Develops initial containment procedures. January 15th, 2012. SCP-2845 reaches predetermined containment area. Initial containment procedures enacted. January 18th, 2012. Initial containment procedures end in success. January 20th, 2012. Construction of Site 100 begins. February 3rd, 2012. Refinements of containment procedures implemented. February 19th, 2012. SCP-2845 declared contained. Alright, I think that about does it for today. Thank you all for listening, if indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed.
True.
Goodbye.
True. Mines knew the deer were gonna come the whole time, dude.
I would like to give a special thank you to researcher Brandon Connell, Burlington the Cat, Slump God,
Burlington
Justin
the Cat.
Day, Pierce M. Hamlin.
Okay. So he's thanking all his Patreons. But, well, there you go. So that is a bit more in detail about the article of the deer, why the original, you know, I guess was enacted as it is from this, you know, external occult expert, and it's been contained so far. I just, like I said, the questions that I have are, you know, I guess what is its purpose? You know, I guess the ideas that I had about why the ritual work don't matter. It's specifically said in the article that it doesn't matter. It's just the intention and power given behind it is all that really matters. And it just so happens that this specific ritual works. So it can't be deviated from, otherwise it could breach containment and then we might not be able to contain it again. But I guess, yeah, like, you know, reading through the article, it's the questions really come to what is this godlike entity? What is its purpose? What is it trying to do, if it has one? You know, etc. It almost kind of seems like it's, like I said, terraforming things in a way, because it just, as a general radius around it as it's moving is constantly being converted. So, like, is that just what its purpose is, or is that just a byproduct of its existence? You know what I mean? And it seemingly purposely, it sounded like, broke off from the meteor that it was attached to come to our planet. It didn't seem like it was really like an accidental thing, so I don't know. Like I said, was it just sent here by another species to terraform us? Was it a creature that was, you know, evil or criminal or something like that from some other kind of species, some alien race, and they managed to contain it and exile it in space, and now we're just dealing with it? You know, who knows? Who knows? But it's interesting. Very interesting, very fascinating. And this is, again, is kind of a follow-up from the Site 13 video. I kind of want to see the kaiju battle, you know, between what Elijah turned into, the deer here, and SCP-001, the Gate Guardian. You know, like, who came out on top in that titanic battle? That's the question. So anyway, as always, links will be down below in the description for this original video without my commentary and reaction, and to the Volgun's channel. If you want to go there and check out his stuff, feel free to do so. Mr. Illustrated. Yeah, all right. Okay. I thought it was like thought I was saying the wrong channel, but no. Anyway, so yeah, all that stuff's down below. As you can see, we're doing this live, so if you would like to join in our discussions as we go through these videos live, feel free to click the join button down below. Check out the YouTube membership benefits, see if any of that has any interest to you. But regardless of any of that, I just appreciate you guys hanging out and watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day. If you did, consider leaving a like and a sub. It helps me and it helps the channel grow. His video has what you're looking for with the giant battle. Okay, well, then I guess we're gonna have to follow that up and watch that. So there we go. But for now, it's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you again very much. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'll see you guys on the next one.